Last year, about halfway through the 2023 season, Holiday World, kind of out of nowhere, announced that their River Rapids ride, I think it was called Raging Rapids, but something simple like that, they announced that it would be closing permanently, which was incredibly weird timing just in the middle of the season there. And as of my most recent visit to Holiday World this fall, I took a look at the plot and realized that demolition's already pretty much completely complete, only about a year and a half later. This will be a little bit of a different style of construction update, since when I was at the park we were on an incredibly tight time schedule to get through everything that we wanted to get through, so I was just able to grab a few clips of the plot as I was walking by, not enough time to really record an entire construction update there, and I'll just go ahead and talk about it now while showing you the clips. So this was a Hopkins River Rapids ride that operated basically in the 4th of July section of the park, though it's one of the only rides in the park that doesn't really seem to have a distinctive theme that goes with one of the holidays. It's kind of situated in between 4th of July and Thanksgiving, but I think it is technically part of the 4th of July section, or it was. It originally opened in 1990, operated for about 33 years, I guess, until it closed again about halfway through last season. What was weird about that is that usually a park would announce the closure of a ride mid-season, that it's closing at the end of the season, or before the season starts. From what I understand, the ride did operate a bit at the beginning of 2023, and then about halfway through the season they just announced the permanent closure seemingly out of nowhere. I think the ride was down for a couple weeks before that for seemingly technical issues, something temporary, and then permanent closure. Which makes me think that this ride may have been kind of on the chopping block anyway, but maybe it was going to close a little bit later down the line, and then it ran into some kind of technical issue, a major repair it needed that caused them to pull up that closure date and just go ahead and do it. That would be my guess. I don't really know. So now as you're walking between 4th of July and Thanksgiving, you'll see this very large construction wall up, and if you peek over it, you'll see that the entire River Rapids ride, it's gone. There is no sign that it really ever existed here. The plot is completely dirt, except for a pile of dirt and rocks and rubble in the very back corner, I guess just leftover scrap materials from the demolition process. Looking around the plot, it's a pretty decently sized plot. These River Rapids rides tend to take up a lot of space, and you can really see that here. It's not quite like huge major roller coaster space, but it's a decent plot of land. At this point, it's pretty much entirely flat dirt, and it does look like they have several sprinklers set up there. I'm not sure if they've, planted some grass or something that they want to grow in for erosion control, or what exactly the deal is. I'm not, a construction or demolition guy. I don't know exactly why those sprinklers are there, but it's probably just something to do with, again, trying to get some grass to grow for erosion control or something. I do find it quite interesting that Holiday World went ahead and demolished this ride so quick after closing, because not far away in Thanksgiving was Pilgrim's Plunge, another pretty problematic water ride that ended up closing. I don't remember exactly which year it closed off the top of my head, but it was just sitting there. I mean, they took down the structure, but the troughs and the station and everything was just sitting there for, I think pretty much a decade. It just, sat there and rotted, and it was a really ugly sore spot in the park. Then it was finally demolished last year and replaced this year with Good Gravy, their new for 2024 Vekoma family boomerang, which looks so nice since that area was so ugly, just sitting there for so long. So with that context, I do find it nice that they've went ahead and done the demolition right away, so we won't have an ugly sore spot just in the middle of the park and a major path that you're passing by like we used to. Now, I would say don't expect anything to happen with this plot of land super soon. However, the way that Holiday World worded their announcement of the closure last year did make it sound like they had something planned for this plot sooner rather than later. Again, I wouldn't be expecting next year or anything. I think we'd see a lot more progress if it was something coming next year. And Holiday World has been trying to space out their investments a little bit more since Thunderbird. As for what could be replacing it, right now we have not the slightest idea. Whatever it is, I really hope it's a 4th of July attraction and some kind of major 4th of July attraction, because 4th of July and Christmas are kind of the two areas of the park that don't really have a good anchor attraction. Christmas kind of gets away with it since it's the entry area, and 4th of July definitely has some nice fun flat rides, but I would love to see some kind of major anchor attraction for 4th of July go onto this plot. And honestly, it's kind of the last plot near 4th of July that they could, some kind of anchor attraction could go into. Again, purely speculation. This could be used for just a restaurant or a picnic area or something. I don't know. Again, the way that the announcement was worded, it sounds like there's going to be, something guest related here. It's not just going to be turned into offices or something. It's going to be somewhere for guests to go and experience, but as for what that is, we have no idea, so temper your expectations. It could be a new water ride. Some people have said like a modern river rapids ride. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I'm personally really hoping this plot of land gets used for another family coaster. And no, I don't think every addition to every park should just be a new coaster. I'm not one of those people, but having ridden Good Gravy this summer and this fall, while I think it's a great addition to the park and I'm so happy that they finally have a family coaster, I think it still is maybe a little bit tamer than I would have expected, and I think there is still a pretty big gap in Holiday World's lineup, even with Good Gravy as great as it is. There's ample opportunity for another family coaster at this park. This is a very, very family-oriented park, which is why it was so weird that they didn't have a family coaster for so long. The jump up in coasters was going from Howler, a little kiddie coaster, to Raven, which is not a family coaster. It's a pretty aggressive, intense ride to jump up to. So Good Gravy adds a nice stepping stone, but I still feel like it's a pretty big jump from Good Gravy all the way up to Raven. So it would be nice to have, especially since it is, again, such a family-oriented park, it would be nice to have another family, almost family thrill coaster that could sit in between Good Gravy and Raven, and that would also kind of give 4th of July that kind of anchor attraction that it kind of needs, in my opinion. And I just think this would be a great plot of land to do it. My two kind of ideas are either a Gravity Group family wooden coaster that might be a little bit tight on this plot of land, but I don't really know. They might be able to make it work. To be fair, there's a little bit more land kind of on the other side of that rubble pile that is hard to tell how much is actually there. So if all of that's usable, then we could actually get a decent Gravity Group family woodie out of this plot of land. The reason I think that specifically is because while Holiday World has been investing in steel coasters lately, their identity is still in their trio of wood coasters. This is like the wood coaster park, so having a family wood coaster, something tamer, to work up to the big three, I think would be really cool. And I also think they could do a cool kind of 4th of July theme with a small family wood coaster. For some reason, kind of red, white, and blue kind of color scheme, at least for the trains and the station and stuff. I could just imagine that working really well. My other idea, since they've worked with Vekoma recently on the Family Boomerang and Good Gravy, some kind of Vekoma family suspended coaster, maybe one of the more thrilling models like Dragonflyer, I think would also work really well on 4th of July. I think it would look really nice. It's kind of perfect for this plot of land. Actually, it might be a little bit small for this plot. I don't exactly know, but they can make it work with a nice plaza like they did for Good Gravy. Again, a red, white, and blue kind of color scheme for a family suspended coaster I think would look really cool. And again, they could kind of lean into more of a family thrill kind of suspended coaster, preferably a Vekoma one. If they got a Dragonflyer clone, I don't think I would mind at all. I think that would be a perfect fit for Holiday World, actually. But yeah, that's just kind of my speculation of what I would like to see on this plot. Again, either a Gravity Group family wood coaster or a, family suspended coaster from Vekoma. I still think a family multi-launch coaster would be amazing at this park, something like Big Bear Mountain, but I don't think that this is the plot of land for that. I don't know why, it just doesn't seem like that's a good place to put it, in my opinion. And since they just got Good Gravy, something that's still family but more differentiable from Good Gravy, like a suspended coaster or a wood coaster, I think would make more sense. But again, it really could be anything here. It could be a couple flat rides, it could be a new River Rapids ride. We really have no idea at this point, and we don't even really know the time frame. Probably sooner rather than later. But do remember that this is an independent park. It's not a top tier chain park like a Cedar Point or a Kings Island or something that has all that money coming into it. It is a individually owned, kind of self-sustained park, so they don't always have the ability to invest crazy amounts of money over and over again like a lot of other parks do. I do think Holiday World's probably kind of in the best situation of really any of the independent parks in the US, other than like maybe Hershey Park, but that doesn't really count because it's Hershey. And I do always like to temper expectations a lot with Holiday World, because while they did get a pretty big, substantial B&M wing coaster in 2015 in Thunderbird, I do know from listening to their podcasts and stuff, they've kind of said that they did not get the return on investment they expected from Thunderbird, and it took them a lot longer than expected to pay back the loan for Thunderbird and all that jazz. So basically they've said don't expect an investment the size of Thunderbird again anytime soon. So would be excellent if we could be surprised, but don't expect like a $25 million ride anytime soon. Good Gravy, of course, was much smaller, just a Vekoma family boomerang, and most of the budget there, I think, was spent on the queue, which is not a bad thing. It looks really nice, but yeah, I wouldn't be expecting a super expensive ride going in this spot. So I know most of this video ended up being super speculative, but there wasn't really much to say about the plot other than like, it's dirt now. So yeah, I would love to get a conversation started about this, so let me know down in the comments below. What do you want to see, or what do you think would make the most sense for this plot of land, Holiday World, going forward? Do you want a new family coaster like I do? Would you rather see like a modern River Rapids ride? Or do you think that they could fit in a full-size thrill coaster here, and what would you want to see there? I'd be interested to hear. And also, of course, when do you think we could see something happening with this plot of land? Obviously, demolition seems to be pretty much complete now, but that doesn't mean much. The land could sit as dirt for years before they end up doing something with it. And again, considering they just got good gravy this year, and that was not an insignificant investment for a small independent park like Holiday World, it's really hard to know. When could we see anything happen here? Again, love to hear your thoughts below, and I will read through all of those, answer all of those, because again, I love talking about this kind of stuff. If you're new here, I would really appreciate a subscription. I try to share my experience in the amusement industry as both a roller coaster and theme park experience. So fun construction updates like this, kind of more vlog style videos. I'd like to do reviews pretty soon. So if anything like that interests you, then again, we really appreciate a subscription. Oh, and leaving a like on this video is very helpful too. Okay, hope to catch a ride with you again very soon.